So you set your retirement date. You've perhaps even clocked out for the last time. Now what? How do you actually enjoy the fruits of your labor, enjoy that retirement? We're going to talk about it here on this episode of Aspire to Retire with Ralph Short, Tim Short, and Scott Earhart of Welcome Home Financial Partners, who you can find online at welcomehomefp.com. That's the website. It's right there in the podcast description. You click the link. It'll take you to the website. Find out more about the guys, the events that they've got coming up, set up a time to speak with them, welcomehomefp.com. My name is Chris Swan, and I'm pleased to be joined, as always, by Ralph Short, Tim Short, and Scott Earhart. Gentlemen, glad to be with you. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, sir.
I'm doing well. There is frugality, and then there is, I guess the fear of spending, the things that we'll do to save a few cents. Comedian Greg Warren says his dad is a loyal St. Louis Cardinals fan, and there's a certain promotion in town that he loves that takes 20 cents off his convenience store coffee if the team scores 6 runs or more.
We're watching the game one time, and it's late in the game. The Cardinals they're winning like 5-0, and basically they had the game won. But he's locked in because he hadn't gotten his coffee yet. And our best hitter came up, and he grounded into a double play to end the inning. And my dad looked at me, and goes, "Seems kind of fishy, huh?" Yeah, they're point shaving, Dad. They're point shaving. Yeah, the Cardinals are in collusion with Mobile on the Run, so you don't save 20 cents on your coffee tomorrow. Like, I would call the FBI, Dad. This has got to go to the top. This is important.
There's nothing wrong with saving money and being frugal when necessary, but there are retirees who've got an excellent retirement plan, yet they won't actually spend the money, go in the opposite direction, maybe a little too frugal, that they've saved over a lifetime. How does that conversation go? How do you show them that it is actually okay to enjoy the fruits of their labor?
Well, what I would say is, give us a call so we can help you understand what your retirement is going to look like through our roadmap process. But also, people need to understand it's your money. You worked hard for it, blood, sweat, and tears. Why don't you enjoy some of it? A lot of people forget that, I'll give you an example of a client that came in. As a client, he lived in a different state, and he moved down after he retired because his kids, one of his kids had some grandkids, so they needed some help taking care of them. They moved down. Do you know what it's like 67, 68 years old, taking care of a 2-year-old for an extended period of time? And I finally convinced him with the amount of money he had, he should start enjoying it. Well, guess what? Now that he's seen a couple of cruises, he's starting to enjoy it. And now he's telling their kids, you take care of your own kids like I did for you. So those are some things that we have to talk to people about just to get them to understand what real life's all about. But the other thing too is you have clients that say, I don't want to spend any of this money because I want it to go to my kids. And then you got other people that will say, hey, this is my money. I earned it. I want to spend every last dollar for that. And those are two options that you've got. But one thing I will tell people, if you don't want to spend any of your money, you don't have a choice because the government has a plan for you, and it's called required minimum distribution of your retirement accounts. The other thing is, if you can tell me when you're going to pass away, it's a simple mathematical equation, how much you need to spend it all. But nobody's yet to this day tell me the date of their death.
You are completely right, sir. And it draws me back to the roadmap. That the roadmap is there so that our clients can understand how much money they have, how much money they can enjoy, whatever their goals are, we can show them how to achieve those goals off of that document. And beyond just setting up the roadmap, that's why we communicate with our clients. That's why we try and sit down with you at least once a year to not only review what you have, how your finances are doing, but how's your retirement going as well. I mean, to Ralph's point about the gentleman or to the comedian's point, looking for 20 cents, maybe we're 1 or 2 years into retirement and I'm looking at a client that we've got an extra $2,000 a month, but he's still, or she is still getting that, not buying coffee unless the team scores 6 runs so she can save 20 cents. Guess what? We're going to have a conversation about it. You can enjoy yourself a little bit. Now, ultimately, it comes down to the individual. They've got to choose to do it, but we're going to communicate with you throughout your retirement. We're going to sit down and talk with you about your retirement. Again, not just about your money, but about your retirement and getting to enjoy and achieve the goals that you have.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things about this business is you get to meet so many different types of people, different backgrounds, different philosophies, different family dynamics, what have you. I think a lot of people get a little bit nervous too about spending in retirement because number one concern for most retirees is the fact that they don't want to run out of money.
Yeah.
And the the crazy world that we live in today, you just never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So there's a lot of people too that feel like they need a permission slip from their actual advisor in order to spend money because that advisor wants to keep as many dollars in that account because his fee is going to be healthier, right? So I think when, where I was talking about somebody who wants to spend everything versus the person who doesn't want to spend anything, there's a lot in between.
Right.
But what it's all about is, we create this retirement roadmap, we go through the process, but it's not just the beginning. It's not the initial setup. It is continuous. Every year, every quarter, whatever it looks like, depending on the individual, we kind of revisit that and see how things look. And hey, guess what? Okay, you made, I don't know, 20 grand this year. You're only taking out 5. Why don't you spend a little bit more? Go enjoy yourself. Ralph was talking about those cruises. There's a lot of people now that are getting into cruises. So go take you an extra trip.
The retirement roadmap works for people to visualize, but it doesn't take in consideration things that might happen. As a client, when I first met him, he was in an independent living facility. Everything was fine. He didn't have a mortgage. Everything was wonderful. Then all of a sudden, he had a health issue, had back surgery, and he's not sure if he's going to be able to walk again. And he's now going to be in a nursing home. So those are issues that, $15,000 a month costs that he had not planned on, but he's got plenty of money the way we had everything structured. So he's not worried about it, but it's not exactly that golden retirement years that he thought that he was going to have. So things do change in your life.
Sure. It certainly isn't something that anyone, I would imagine, sits down with you guys for the first time and goes, I want to have a medical situation arise and I want a good bit of my money to go towards, hospital bills or things like that. But it does happen. And so you do bring up a good point. Sometimes these life events are not for the positive. And so you want to make sure that you've got that wiggle room in there for if and when those things happen. And hopefully they don't. But is that part of the reason that you think that people fear, not just the longevity risk, that the fear of outliving their money, not knowing how long they're going to be here, but knowing that, there's a lot of variables down the way. Life does happen. Is this where, obviously, in this gentleman's case, it's a bit of an extreme, having an emergency fund comes into place to handle these situations that will pop up from time to time?
Oh, yeah, because there's always going to be, you always have to have some sort of liquid funds, right? So you need to have the emergency fund. That's kind of step number one for a retirement plan. We've got to make sure that we're going to have enough money kind of sitting on the sideline. We've talked about this in other episodes before. But if, a health crisis comes up, if your dog runs into the back of your left leg and you pop your ACL, you've got money for the surgery if your insurance isn't quite as good. So there's a lot of things that you've got to take into account for, but the emergency funds is paramount. That's number one.
One of the things I always say to people, because I do live on Main Street and not on Wall Street, because things do happen. Some people tell me I may be a little bit negative viewpoint sometimes, but like I say, I live on Main Street and things happen. You might even break your ankle just walking down Main Street, and you got to be prepared.
Tim, you said something a couple minutes ago talking about the clients coming in asking for permission for some, not coming into you guys, but with other advisors asking for permission to spend their money. It is their money. It is what that they've saved for, and they should be free to do whatever they want to do. Not necessarily permission, but do you think it's important for people to come in and bring their ideas to the table beforehand, a measure twice, cut once situation, just so that they understand what the actual cost of things are going to be? Because withdrawing money from accounts could trigger taxes, and that ends up making people spend more than they want to, right?
Oh, absolutely. So, I'm still kind of surprised on the lack of knowledge of the tax system in this country. So a lot of people don't realize, hey, if I need $20,000 and it's pre-tax money, well, that doesn't mean I'm pulling out $20,000. That means we're pulling out more. And then what other income that you've got. So, you don't need a permission slip to spend your money, but you do need to know the ins and the outs, the ramifications of distributions, withdrawals, contributions, whatever the case may be.
You know, I agree with Tim. I meet so many people that don't understand the ramifications from tax, withdrawing from, retirement accounts or things that are going to be fully taxable. And we talk a lot on this show about our retirement roadmap. But one of the things that makes me so proud about our firm is once you are a client, anytime you want to take an action, we will put in front of you the exact ramifications of that action. Our administrative team will help us to understand account balances, understand withholding, let you see net versus gross numbers, and then we can take those numbers and calculate them onto an annual setting, so you can understand where you'd be at, from an income standpoint. It's about having that ongoing relationship and having that peace of mind that you can take that money out. So to Tim's point, not necessarily ask for permission, but understand the ramifications of it.
It's what I call the what if scenarios. When people come in, we will say to them, this is what you want. This is what it's going to take. Mm-hmm. This is the tax situations. So if they decide to do that, a lot of people will say, oh, I didn't realize it was going to cost me an extra $10,000 in taxes for doing this. And I don't really need that. I just thought I wanted it. I mean, that's just part of this situation that we sit down with people as fiduciaries and say, it's your money, you can do what you want, but by doing it this way, this is what it's going to cost you. And to Tim's point about most people don't understand the tax code, well, that's because nobody in Congress understands the tax code. Yeah. They keep changing it every time we turn around. How many of them have done the 250,000 page tax document? So those are situations that I don't say that the general public is wrong by not understanding everything, mm-hmm. but they do need to have a conceptual understanding of how it'll affect them when they withdraw money and things of that nature.
And it's not just about the taxation. There's different withdrawal strategies. So Chris, if you had $100,000 in the market and all of a sudden the market's tanking, now you're down 50%, but you had another account that wasn't phased by the market downturn, where would you pull from?
I would pull from the one that wasn't phased.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't understand that. And they say, well, you know what? I'm going to pull from this. It's not doing well. Well, then think about it. If you took a 50% loss and then took out another 10%, how much are you going to need quickly to recover? So it's not just about taxes. It's also about withdrawal strategies when you're in retirement.
We talked about some extremes here on this episode, the people who want to, spend every last dollar. They want that last check to the undertaker to bounce, versus the people who want to leave it all. Those are obviously very extremes. There's a lot of gray area in between. In the same sort of way, there are the people who are, in the same sort of way, there is a lot of gray area between needing permission to spend your money. Look, the guys at Welcome Home Financial Partners, they're not going to lock the door and say, you have to spend this money. You have to go on this cruise. We insist. Versus also, they're also not going to say, we refuse to let you do what it is that you want to do. But it's all about that understanding. It is all about that gray area and being able to understand the plans, being educated about it, making sure that you know how to go about doing it properly. It is okay to enjoy your retirement. That's what it's for, honestly. But just knowing what that's going to look like starts with having that roadmap put together. That's what the team at Welcome Financial Partners does. Helps you create that roadmap, maintain that roadmap, because there will be those changes, some for the positive, hopefully more for the positive than the negative, but being able to continue you on that path towards enjoying that retirement, enjoying the fruits of your labors. It all begins by reaching out to the guys. WelcomeHomeFP.com is the website. As I mentioned before, find out more about the First Friday events. They'd love to have you out there. You can click the link right there at WelcomeHomeFP.com, and that link is right there in the podcast description. They hope to see you out there, and we want to thank you so much for joining us here on Aspire to Retire with Ralph Short, Tim Short, and Scott Earhart. Have a great day ahead of you. Gentlemen, hope you have a great day as well. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Thank you, Chris. So, yeah, we talk about the First Fridays a bit, but, if you're eager to come meet us, you don't have to wait till the First Friday. We've got other events around. Or if you just want to simply come into the office for, no obligation consultation, second opinion, we'd love the opportunity to meet with you in the office. So give us a call, visit the website, check us out, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Take care.
All content is for information purposes only. It is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decision, nor is it intended to be a projection of current or future performance or indication or future results. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Welcome Home Financial Partners and Welcome Home Wealth Advisors, LLC. The information contained in this material has been derived from sources believed to be reliable, but is not guaranteed as to accuracy and completeness and does not purport to a complete analysis of the materials discussed. All information and ideas should be discussed in detail with your individual advisor prior to the implementation. Each individual investor's situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstance. Advisor services are offered by Welcome Home Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Virginia. Being registered as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Insurance products and services are offered through WPI Holding, Virginia Insurance License Number 138509, an affiliated company. The information contained herein should in no way be construed or interpreted as a solicitation to sell or offer to sell advisory services to any residents of any state other than the state of Virginia or where otherwise legally permitted. Welcome Home Wealth Advisors, LLC, and Welcome Home Financial Partners are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency.